In 2020, I made a decision that would forever change my life. I typed 2 words: angry, defiant, and final. Forget God. At that moment, I believed I was walking away from my faith for good. The pandemic was tearing through the world, and in many ways, my faith was unraveling just as rapidly. What some call deconstruction was, for me, outright demolition. I didn't meticulously question my beliefs or seek wisdom from others. Instead, I tore everything down, brick by brick, until nothing remained but bitterness and anger. Even the word, God, felt oppressive, a symbol of control, guilt, and shame. I couldn't bear it. New ideas and theories had flooded my mind, challenging the Christianity I had known. What if sexuality wasn't so black and white? What if original sin was just a concept? And what about the contradictions in the Bible? These thoughts didn't feel liberating, they felt like theft. I felt as if my faith had robbed me of pleasures I was too afraid to explore. For years, I had suppressed my desires and curiosities. The doctrines I once preached as a youth leader now clashed violently with the person I believed I was deep down. I wanted to question, challenge, and even rebel. But Christianity had always told me to deny myself. I began to wonder, what if I couldn't enjoy life and enjoy God? What if I could no longer deny myself for God? What if I had to choose? And so, I chose myself. For the next 2 years, I threw myself into what I now call my freedom tour. I explored everything I believed the world had to offer: romantic experimentation, substances, alternative spirituality, anything that promised to fill the void I felt. For a while, it seemed like I had finally found freedom. At first, it was exhilarating. There's a strange rush that comes with rebellion, a thrill in defying the rules you once held sacred. I attended parties I'd once judged, engaged in relationships I would have condemned, and sought pleasure in ways I'd never dared before. It felt like I was making up for lost time, like I was finally living. But the thrill didn't last. The freedom I thought I'd gained began to sour. The relationships I relied on for fulfillment started falling apart. Anxiety crept in like a shadow I couldn't shake. My mind became a whirlwind of doubts, fears, and sleepless nights. I turned to psychedelics, hoping they'd expand my understanding or at least silence the storm in my head. Instead, they left me feeling untethered, adrift in a sea of confusion. Nothing satisfied, not the rebellion, not the pleasures, not even the temporary highs. I felt like I was floating in darkness, lost in a vast, empty void. Outwardly, I looked free, but inwardly, I was a prisoner to my own despair. Life had lost its meaning. Pleasure no longer brought joy, and without it, I saw no reason to continue living. Suicidal thoughts became my constant companion. I planned my exit: pills, perhaps, or a warm bath. It seemed logical, even merciful, to end the emptiness. But as I stood on the edge of that decision, something unexpected gripped me: fear. It wasn't just fear of dying, it was fear of what might come after. What if death wasn't an escape but a descent into something even darker? I had spent years rejecting God, but in that moment, I found myself whispering words I hadn't spoken in years. God, help me. To my astonishment, my phone rang almost immediately. It was a friend, one who had stayed in touch even as I distanced myself from everything Christian. She asked, "Are you okay?" For the first time in years, I answered honestly, "No. I'm not." I poured out everything: my pain, my doubts, my fears. She listened without judgment. Her presence on the other end of the line felt like a lifeline pulling me back from the edge. After the call, I collapsed to the floor, sobbing. I couldn't understand what had just happened. I didn't want to be alive, yet here I was, breathing, crying, and feeling something I hadn't in a long time: hope. Not long after, my sister came home. She found me still on the floor, broken but alive. She knelt beside me and asked, "Do you want to surrender?" In that moment, I knew exactly what she meant. I was tired of carrying my pride, my anger, my rebellion, and my emptiness. I said yes. As she prayed over me, a weight lifted from my chest. For the first time in years, I felt peace. The next morning, I woke up different. The God I had tried so hard to run from had never left me. He had been waiting, patient and faithful, ready to meet me in my darkest hour. Since that day, my life has changed. I don't hide anything from God anymore, not my fears, my doubts, or even my desires. I bring everything to Him, and in return, He gives me peace, clarity, and purpose. I've learned that true freedom isn't found in chasing every desire or rejecting every boundary. True freedom is found in surrender, surrendering my will, my plans, and my pride to the one who knows me better than I know myself. I once thought self-denial was oppressive, but now I see it as the path to true life. The life I tried to create for myself led only to emptiness, but the life God offers is full, rich, and eternal. Now I understand what Jesus meant when He said, "Whoever loses their life for my sake will find it." I lost the life I thought I wanted, and in doing so, I found the life I was always meant to live.
Thank you for watching. Click on these to watch more real-life transformational stories, and subscribe to get a notification anytime we share real-life stories of awesome acts.